thank you so much for doing this.
Of course.
First,
Yeah.
why don't you introduce yourself
Mhm.
and tell us what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Vivien Lin from Brand Active. I'm the design director there. And essentially, what Brand Active does is we do rebrand implementation, and what that means when there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and we help companies realize what that rebrand could look like. So whether it's from all of the assets, not just physical assets, it could be IT forms, it could be HR, it could be signage, obviously a big part, and fleet. And really, what we help our clients understand is time, cost, and what the scenarios could be. And we get in really early, so we get in, right when the clients are like, you know what, we're looking for a rebrand. We're thinking about it. Can you tell us how much it would cost? And then we would tell them, scenario one is X dollars over this much time. Scenario two is Y dollars over this much time. So that's kind of the core of our business. And where I come in is I run the studio team at Brand Active. And essentially, I have a team of designers. We deal mostly with physical assets. Signage is a big one, obviously. It's probably one of the most expensive components of a rebrand. And we also do fleet, ID badges, workwear, collateral conversion, anything physical we typically deal with. And we get the concepts from agencies, we kind of massage them, we talk to fabricators. So I like to say we're the translator in between the two worlds, and really just to bring some concepts to life, and a lot of fun doing it at the same time. Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that we can geek out about
I know, right?
signage and branding.
Yes.
Yeah. So who do you do this for? Like, you did mention agencies.
Yeah.
But is that who you do this for?
So most of our clients are actually across various industries. We're pretty industry agnostic for the most part, mostly B2B. But if you think, a lot of my clients are big healthcare systems, so systems that run across the US, for example, or we have a lot of financial clients and some manufacturing. So it kind of runs the gamut in pharmaceutical. We have, national projects, but we also have some global projects. So those projects are really important, where my team is really important to kind of help build and standardize so that, the location you go to in Chicago is the same as California, is the same as the one in Europe somewhere, and the same as in Asia. So you get that same look and feel, that same vibe. That's really what my team tries to do, is to build a standard for now and going forward. Until they change the brand, the standard really should be there and function. So.
Yeah, cool. And as fun as it all is,
yes,
we know there's probably some problems that you need to solve and foresee.
That's the fun part, though.
Yeah,
the problem
solving. It's a puzzle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of the major ones, or something you kind of see repeatedly where maybe you wish they already knew this?
So I think there's a couple of things. I wish our clients knew that they need a team besides their day-to-day team to really help implement, because this is really beyond anyone's day job. You don't do rebrand every day.
Sure.
So whenever we find our clients in there, they're like, oh, we didn't know. We had to look at IT forms, we had to look at legal, we had to look at compliance, and have to bring all these different stakeholders together. So that's been a really fun challenge, if you will, for our clients to really shift the mindset and saying, like, we have project managers, we can do it, but it's like they have their day job. They really need more support. And on the agency side, a lot of the times when I talk to the agencies, it's like, how do I realize your concept? How do I realize what you're trying to convey? So whether it's color is a big thing in agencies.
Color's a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's like, is it the right blue? What is the blue? Or is it the right teal? What is the teal? And a lot of the times it looks great in renderings, and it might look great at your corporate headquarters, but when you go to, your manufacturing plant in the middle of nowhere, you can't have that shift, but the material might shift. So really establishing what that standard should be, and having the agency and the clients aligned on, what is the color you want? What is your color? Not the digital version, not the beautiful one on your website, but what is the physical version of your color? And it could be lighting, for obvious reasons, and that always comes up, and people are always surprised when the color changes with lights. So
right,
yeah,
right, because You have PMS, you have CMYK,
Yeah.
and then digitally you have RGB.
Yeah.
But then when you shine light through objects
Mhm.
as an assign,
Yeah.
that changes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can specify paint, right? You can
Yes.
specify materials,
Mhm.
but how do you specify a blue,
Yeah.
what do you call it, bluish, or,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think what's challenging for people to understand is, yes, you can have a paint color, but because it's light shining on color versus light shining through color, they react differently. So, when I look at color, I see like, oh, it's blue with a purple hue. You don't see the purple until you put light through it. So those are the kind of things that I feel when I work with agencies and even internal marketing teams. They're really surprised. They're like, "Oh, my logo is a little bit purple." Like, yeah, that's the blue you picked. Is
Yeah.
this still the one you want?
Yeah. Yeah. So is consistency a challenge? Do you find not only across illumination,
Yeah.
because let's not make this all about
Yeah.
illumination, right?
Although I love illumination.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
consistency is definitely a challenge because it's so subjective what we do. My perception of blue is different than your perception of blue. Yours might be bluer. Mine might be a warmer blue, a cooler blue. Even in what I hear a lot actually is in blacks, or dark grays. I'll call them dark grays. It's, oh, that's not my gray. So my first question is it a warmer gray or a cooler gray that you're thinking? Because everyone's perception of color is so different, it's hard to standardize. And you really have to get the buy-in at the beginning in order to kind of go through and keep people accountable throughout the process. It's like, okay, client, you agreed to this. Okay, vendor, we built this through prototyping, through color matching process. And then when we get to the final product, it comes out and if it matches and the client doesn't like it, then it's like, well,
Sure.
we need to reinvent the color or you kind of live with it. If we get to the end and it doesn't look like it, then it's like, hey, vendor, we tested, we know you can do this. So why is it different? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So consistency, and then what about something I want to talk or ask you about is in the world of visualization, visualization tools, AI, all the ability to really render stuff in a very realistic way.
Yeah.
I think we also run the risk of, hey, it might, it's not supposed to be like that, kind of when you do see it in real life.
Yes.
Or maybe that doesn't really, it looks so good on paper, but doesn't translate well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rendering is a great tool to conceptualize, but it is not, I think we have to keep in mind it's not the real thing because you're rendering in a very specific environment. You render it for the most perfect lobby. You render it for the brick that you think is the most perfect brick. But when you get to reality, you're not going to get the same brick.
Sure.
Like even if you buy paint, each lot is different. So you're never going to get what you see on screen replicated. You can get very close, but you'll never see it replicated. So I think that's kind of it's a little bit of a pitfall, I would say, of all the generative AI and being able to render things so quickly is like you get that instant excitement and then it's like, oh, it's not living up to the excitement.
Sure.
So
Now, we know, I know it happens often in lighting, but does that also apply to other materials? What is it consistent across the board, or is it?
It definitely happens to other materials. So if you think any natural material that has lot numbers, so marble, slate, wood, anything even when you go to Home Depot, you buy a thing of wood planks, they come with a lot number. That's because they're trying to tell you it came from this lot of trees, therefore they'll match. So if you come 3 months later, it's a different lot. Something will be a little bit different. So any natural material, definitely, it's really hard to match.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I think what we're kind of coming to is prototyping.
Yes.
Right? Visualization beyond the digital, like real touchy-feely.
Of course.
Let me see it, let me touch it, let me look at it closely. How important is that when you're rolling out a new brand?
It is probably from my perspective, the most important step.
Really?
Because what you're doing is spending a little bit of money to make sure you're not spending a lot of money trying to fix it later. So if you think about prototyping, let's call it $30,000 to prototype on average. You get your channel letters, you get your monuments, you get your various versions, panels, all of the material. So you're really testing that up front. Again, it's accountability, right? So how we do prototyping is we make sure we test the options that we feel is available and cost effective. You don't want to go down a path of like, hey, built this one great monument, but it's going to cost you $1 million and you have 300 sites. Like, that's not what we want. So kind of going through value engineering, going through the material, and then again, keeping people accountable. So client, hey, big surprise, this is what you love. And then going to the vendor and say, this is what you're building. This is what it should look like. And these are the materials we're using. These are the lights we're using. This is what, if it's curved, how is it, where is the screw? Is it countersunk? Is it sticking out? Like, how do we want all of the little details? Because when you see something in person and you walk around, you get a very different feeling.
Sure.
Versus seeing something on screen and you're kind of rotating around it. Because you're walking around and you realize something dimensional, for example, something really robust, so like a slab serif font, very, very thick font, you realize, oh, it looks great on screen, it has a lot of presence, and you prototype it and you're like, oh, if you make it too thick, it just becomes this blob, like this big chunky thing that you can't see.
Right.
And then you have the opposite problem where it's the stroke width is too thin. You have these really delicate, beautiful lines, and you can build it, and then you realize when you stand, it's on top of the building, you stand 60 feet away, it's 20 stories up, you're like, oh, I can't read that anymore.
Just disappears, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then or you realize, hey, it's 20 stories up, you're not actually seeing anything straight up, you're actually seeing it at an angle, which then when we think about channel letters, like the return color, is the entire thing white, then it becomes chunky. So do you need to do something about that? So we want to make sure we capture as much of those details. At the viewing distance, I think it's really important that it needs to be seen. And also a lot of what we do is signage, very functional, so legibility is very important. It can be beautiful, but the function of us, like what is the purpose of what you're building? Is it beautiful or is it functional? If it's functional, it needs to do its job.
Sure.
So what is its job? I think is what we try to figure out in prototyping as well.
Yeah. So legibility is extremely important,
yes,
right?
Definitely.
Especially in healthcare. And, some of these. So with what we were just talking about, it sounds like prototyping has to start very early. Do you find resistance there? I mean, do in a perfect world, all of your clients know that's a step?
Yes.
And they don't plan beyond that. They don't begin planning. First, we need to do this, and then we can make a schedule, right? Does that happen? Really?
No, that never happens. What we do is we put prototyping into the schedule. So we plan for it. So when we're at the planning stage, we're like, okay, we got concept, takes X amount of weeks. We have to build a sign family, takes X amount of weeks. We have to understand what we need to prototype. Not only the designer needs to know, like, what do I want to test, but the client has to say, yes, that's what I want to test. For example, interior signage, we're like, oh, best practice, we should have interchangeable slats for directories because healthcare systems services move. So you want that to be flexible. And the client says, well, you know what? I don't want to spend the extra money to do slats. I want one big board. That's fine, but we want to test both. And we want to be able to give pros and cons to both. And then also very important is my designers would want to work with the vendors to make sure what we're designing not only is buildable, but it's also economical. And I'm a really big fan of reducing waste. So if a vendor comes and tells me, you know what, Vivien, if you reduce the sign by an inch, we can cut the price in 25%, 30%, 50%, whatever it is, and we'll reduce waste. We can do 2 per sheet versus 1 per sheet. I'm happy to hear those things because I don't want to waste material for the sake of wasting material. Sure.
So not even for beauty.
No, I don't think. Well, it depends. If you're telling me I need to cut 12 inches, I'm like, well, that's a different design.
Okay, yeah.
But if it's like, what I usually hear is like, oh, what if we shaved an eighth? I'm like, literally no one will see this. The only person that will see is probably me and the designer. So it's about give and take.
So that's great that you can take yourself out of look at yourself objectively and
Yes.
like understand. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's I think where I struggle, or Vitro definitely like we see it.
Yeah.
How come no one else sees it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where to draw that line is kind of tricky.
I
Sometimes.
did struggle with that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But it's kind of how I also look at it is, have I given my clients, agencies, vendors the options I think are viable? Have we had a discussion about it? And they kind of choose the option it's not my money. It's not my hospital.
Right.
So it's kind of like I gave you all the options, all the pros and cons, cost, complexity, all of that. And then it's really up to you, the client, to make a choice.
Right.
Because it is ultimately your site, your brand. So we work with the brand team. So brand team, this is ultimately your baby.
Right.
So what do you want your baby to look like?
Yeah. Yeah. So with vendors, how do you go about selecting vendors?
So with vendors, what I look for, maybe I'll put it that way, is someone that is collaborative and open to trying new things. I've worked with vendors where I describe a concept and they're like, great, we're gonna do everything we can, we'll go the extra mile, we'll make the extra 5 pieces to really show you what we think will work and to achieve the vision. And then they'll tell me things like, we don't think it will work. I'm like, just do it. And then I've worked with vendors that are very resistant. They would say things like, whenever a vendor starts a sentence with, I've been doing this for X amount of years. I'm like, well, that's great. I'm happy for you. But at the same time, if you think about how technology is advanced, thinks about how materials has changed, you can't tell me it's the same thing 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's really hard at times to keep track. I mean, for most people in any industry, right? I mean, people don't really. It surprised me how few people feel there can be innovation in this industry. Yeah. As if we're done, Yes. We've figured it all out.
Solved it all.
This cannot be better, right?
And then we would still have neon lights. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I work with those vendors, they usually turn around. Sometimes they're very stubborn and they're just like, I'll just do what she says. But the ones that turn around, I get really excited with the ones that turn around. I did this project where we were doing white letters during the day, color at night. So the second surface color. Vendors never done it. And they were like really questioning me. And I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, no, I'm really sure because I tested it on my light box. So somehow it works. I can't explain to you how, but I've seen it work. Now we need to make it at scale. Can you at least show me? So they were very reluctant. We made different faces just to, satisfy both parties. And when it turned on, they kind of turned to me and they're like, oh, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I know. Exactly.
Yeah. That's great. So do you have a light box?
I do have I have a lux cap.
A lux capacitor.
I have 2.
Yeah.
It comes in pairs.
Yeah.
It's really useful actually for our team.
Is it? So, because Eddie came up with the lux capacitor idea many years ago, and to see it develop, and then for the lux capacitor to actually tell us in use cases what it needs to be, that's really made itself, in other words, right?
Yes,
We knew it would be helpful as a prototyping tool. Is it possible to predict illuminated color and document? Like, really, can we put real, repeatable math behind this? And it's just a pleasure when we see it have its own babies again and again and again, So, but sometimes we, with something new and it's very complex, illuminated color through materials, right? So is this really going to help, or how has it helped, on some of your projects? Yeah,
so a lot of our projects, I would say the Lux Cap is awesome, and we use it a lot, whether it's to educate my team to say like, hey, this is what happens when you do X. For example, what were we doing? We were doing Intermountain Children's, and they had colorful, little characters, and we were using dual light, so it was dark, and some of the characters were light, and I was just, people were trying to tell me how to do it, and I'm just sitting there thinking, but if you put yellow translucent vinyl on dark acrylic, it's not yellow.
Right.
It's going to be a dark yellow. It's not quite the yellow you want. So then we threw it on a light box. We just tested different colors, and we're like, okay, it works. So, or we did color coding circles, and it had numbers in the middle. And again, it was on day-night acrylic, so it was dark. Some of the colors didn't work so well, so it should have been white letters, but we couldn't do that. So we did a lot of tests and thought about how to, like, do we need to put a key line on things so that at day it's still legible, and then at night, obviously, with the light shining through, is very legible. So I would say the Lux Cap is a start of prototyping. It is not, you should not be basing final decisions on this.
Sure.
Because you still need to see it at scale. You might have the right color, you might have the right light output, but at scale, it feels very different. A little swatch like this is not quite the same as the 7-foot channel letter.
Sure.
So you still want to go through the process. What it does do, though, what we found is it eliminates the number of prototypes. So what I always tell my clients is we do this. You fly us over, we fly over, whatever it is. You spend $10K, flights, everything, producing stuff. Spend $10K, get it resolved. I think the last project we did, we had initially like 26 prototypes, and because we did this exercise, we cut it down to 6.
Oh, great.
So save cost, obviously, and saves time. And when a lot of our projects are on a time crunch, because Rebrand implementation comes with its own legal challenges sometimes. Like, I gotta finish by X. So when you're on a time crunch, this is actually really, it may seem not very, it may seem like a waste of time if you don't understand. You're like, why am I taking this one element out and testing it now as opposed to later? But you save time and cost at the end.
That's great. That's good value, I think.
Yes.
Unexpected, but this is what I mean by Lux telling us what it can do, right?
Yeah, but I would still say you still need to prototype.
Oh yeah, definitely. But you can make a much more effective and efficient prototype.
Definitely.
Right? We've done it, right?
And no surprises. We've done it with clients where they know what to expect. So they're not coming on like, oh, that's not what we thought. So it kind of simplifies the prototyping process. It's like, we know the color, that's the one we're hitting.
Sure.
We don't have to stand there and pick the 5 different picks again. So.
Yeah. And then recently in prototyping, we've added what we call the 3P module. It's a prototyping power pack.
Yes.
So then at scale, we can turn those pieces into a living, breathing Lux capacitor and let clients make choices. So sometimes what we do, it tends, comes at a premium. But the value, the unrecognized value that happens behind the scenes, just, I think that's where we've been able to win.
It's kind of the same as prototyping. I tell my clients, I'm like, okay, you're telling me you don't want to spend the $30,000, say it's 30. You don't want to spend the $30,000, but you're going to roll out your $1 million program and find out something is wrong and spend another $2 million trying to fix it. Like, the math doesn't math.
One visit with a bucket truck on a high enough building, you're over 30 grand very quickly.
Exactly. So and then it rolls out, and because we do such large rollout programs, it's not like we can be at every site. We're kind of relying on the site contact to say like, hey, this looks wrong. And you will have people that care and people that don't. So
that's great. I'm gonna turn this Lux Cap device off, and we made something for you. I'm very intimidated right now.
Really?
Yeah, because you're a color expert, and I hope we've done it justice.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna stick that in there.
I love it.
So what I want to do is see if we can get this right. There it is.
Not
Do
quite.
we want to get a warmer color temperature?
Turn it off for a second.
Off.
Okay, keep going.
Is it? So in the offstate, is this close?
It's a little more teal, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But keep
So
going.
got it. So let's go. Boom. We'll turn it on. Brighter.
These a bit more green.
Okay. First of all, let me make sure I got the right acrylic dialed in. Okay. So 5,000K, 4,000K,
Getting close-ish.
3,000K.
That's probably pretty close.
So would you ever imagine to backlight this piece, we would have to do 3,000 Kelvin
Probably
LED?
not.
Yeah, warmer. So this maybe became the baseline, right?
Yeah.
Now, do we go up or down in brightness, or?
I think a little brighter.
Yeah. So this is where you would keep it
I think so.
in this
yeah.
environment. It looks okay, right?
Yeah.
So because I mean it's pretty bright in
Yeah,
here.
I'm,
So
I'm also like I don't love really loud brands,
Uh-huh.
so I like nice subtle.
subtle,
yeah,
subtlety. Yeah. So did we do it justice?
I think so.
I feel so much better
It's pretty
now.
close.
I was especially nervous about doing this.
Well, I have to say I have actually not seen our logo lit,
Oh,
to be honest,
really?
because it's all we don't have signs in our office.
Oh, right.
We have one white letter set, I think, in our
Right,
office.
at
Or
the
a halo
entryway.
lit, yeah.
I got it.
So
yeah.
it's not. Well, I've never seen it face lit, but I have seen it obviously in our
Yeah,
websites and
yeah.
things. So
So is this interesting lit? I
think
really like
so.
the eye. I like that.
I like
that
I like
flourish, yeah.
the eye,
Yeah.
the little like accent.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so let me ask you, if you had a magic wand,
Yeah.
your own personal magician, a genie,
Mhm.
whatever it is, and instantly make every brand manager, or
Yeah.
brand agency who you're dealing with know 3 things that would make your job easier and their results better. What would those be?
I think the first one will have to be, and I'm going to say it 3 times because it's important.
Sure.
Prototype, prototype, prototype.
And that's only the first one.
That's only
okay?
the first one. The
Yeah.
other ones are less intense.
Okay, got it.
I think the second one is know the resources you need. So know that you can't do this by yourself. Know that
Mhm.
it is a big undertaking, and that your team needs to be supported. So find me, someone like Brand Active would be lovely, but just like make sure your team feels supported throughout the process, because the worst thing that can happen to a rebrand is you brand it, it's beautiful, and then everyone hates it because the process was really terrible
Mhm,
for
mhm.
the staff. So we don't want that. And I think the third one is just understanding that what you see on screen is not reality. It's close, but it's not quite. So you always need to understand dimensionality in physical space is different than dimensionality on screen.
Great.
Okay.
Those are great answers, and I like that you had 3 wishes but got 5 things out of them.
Did
That
I?
was good. Yeah,
Oh, I
prototype,
did.
prototype, prototype.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. And
Yeah.
now I'm gonna ask you like the other way, right?
Mhm.
So downstream
Yeah.
with vendors
Mhm.
like Vitro, like fabricators that
Yeah.
you work with. What are 3 things you would wish they knew?
Still prototype, prototype, prototype.
Oh, okay.
Like I just need to see it.
Yeah.
I believe you, but it's an experience.
Mhm.
It's an experience not just for the designer, because I'm really excited, but also for the client. Every single time we had a client come in for prototyping, they walk away. Obviously, there are things that might need to change, but they walk away going, "This is so great. This is the first time I'm seeing my brand in a physical space."
Right.
So that is actually a very powerful statement, because up until then, all they've seen is
just 2 dimensions.
on their screen.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
It might be a rendering, but it's been
Can't-
on a little
can't
screen.
touch anything.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and a TV at most.
Right.
So it's a really powerful thing to be able to see your brand in 3D form.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the second one is keep an open mind. Like the designer, at least my designers, I don't know other designers, but my team and I, we're not here to make things hard. We are here to visualize something, and I'm hoping that with the vendors we work with now in the future, it's and like yourself, suppliers, it's more about how do we come up with the best solution for this visual.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about I'm trying to make your life hard, or I'm being difficult. It's just I'm trying to realize something, so how can we realize it
Yeah.
together? I think it's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is
Third one.
Third one is close to the second one. That's why I'm getting them mixed up. Is collaboration, because we're really looking at suppliers and vendors to tell us what is possible, and to tell us like, hey, Vivien, you're a little bit crazy. we can make it very close. Or you can tell me, like, think very minutia details, like radius of things. I don't know the radius of things. I'm like, the curve is beautiful. But I'm relying on the vendor to say, you know what, if you made it 3 degrees more round, then we can use a standard tool. I don't need to tool new tooling things. I'm kind of relying on that collaborative effort to say, here's the vision, and you tell me if there's anything I need to tweak in order to make it more functional, easier, whether it's on budget or time. So,
Sure.
yeah.
That's great. Great answers. And we enjoy the challenge of working with brand active
Yeah.
groups like you, with you personally.
Oh, thank you.
It makes us better. We you know, and a lot of the companies that you've brought together
Yeah.
on your projects feel that way.
Yeah.
And so it's great, you know, to have that group come together
Yes.
and see some of those turnarounds where, but the results are phenomenal. Like the end result or what you're doing has been, it's so great for us to see it too when it's done and see the whole piece come
I
together.
really like bringing people together earlier the better, I always say.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not possible, but whenever possible, I think getting the right people to the table is really important.
Sure.
Whether it's on the client side, the vendor side, or even ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's great. So would you have, before we end, any specific tips or tricks or something you would want our industry to know, our partners, anything you can?
I don't know if it's a tip or a trick. I think it's more, it's a question I like to ask myself is, why am I doing this? Whether it's a design or a project, it's what is the purpose of doing this? That's the first question. The second question I ask myself is it user friendly for its purpose? So I do that not just with signage, I do that with my deck building. Like when I make presentations, I'm like, who am I presenting to? Does it make sense? So those are kind of the two questions I ask myself when I do anything, really. So
Right.
yeah.
And then obviously hold yourself accountable to the results.
Yes, of
right?
course. And be okay when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably the third thing that's most important.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you for doing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
This was fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, Vivien.
Thank you.
All right.